Hello, and welcome to Unity of Fredericksburg. My name is Linda, and I'm pleased to welcome all of you to the Unity of Fredericksburg weekly online gathering. At Unity of Fredericksburg, we are advancing the movement of spiritual awakening and transformation through unity, a positive path for spiritual living. We thank those of you watching on YouTube, live or later, and invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're able to attend live, we encourage you to join us in the Zoom community room for the full Sunday morning experience, including music, prayer, and connection. Our weekly newsletter includes the Sunday service link, and you can subscribe to receive that on our website at uofva.org. For everyone local to Central Virginia, Unity of Fredericksburg offers a variety of fun and enriching in-person gatherings every month. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter at uofva.org for all the details. Our message today comes from our minister, Reverend Cheryl Fair. And now here's Reverend Cheryl.
Thank you, Linda. Welcome, everyone. Whether you're in the Zoom room here or watching on YouTube now or later, your energy is contributing to the wonderful energy of Unity of Fredericksburg, and we're happy to have you here. Our broadcast date today is Sunday, November 19th, and we are preparing for Thanksgiving. My title today is Gathering the Good. And here's the little description. I'll just read it to you because I like it. As we prepare for Thanksgiving, we are like creatures of the forest, foraging and gathering all the good bits from the world around us and tucking them away to savor and feast on at a later date. So we see a lot of that activity out in nature this time of year, don't we? Lots of little creatures going around gathering bits and pieces and putting together their winter nests. And of course, one of the most prevalent things we see is squirrels, right? Squirrels are very busy in this part of the country. So I have a little squirrel story for you. It's called The Crafty Cookie Thief. All right, so I'm reading this story, which I found online and then kind of crafted it a little bit for us this morning. It was a lovely day, autumn in Austin, Texas, but Rusty Carr could not find much to enjoy. Rusty was stuck in the hospital following emergency surgery, and he was experiencing pain, frustration, and worst of all, hunger. Rusty had been off solid food for 8 days, and food cravings had taken over his imagination. Even his dreams were filled with images of brisket and pizza and ice cream sundaes. Finally, Rusty got the green light to eat solid food, and a kind-hearted nursing assistant walked him to the cafeteria where he selected a giant chocolate chip cookie. And then she took him outdoors to a lovely courtyard where Rusty sat to catch his breath and was left on his own to enjoy the lovely weather. Unbeknownst to Rusty, while he sat with his eyes closed, soaking up the warm rays of the sun, a sneaky squirrel had eyed that big cookie. Sensing that Rusty could only move slowly at best, the crafty squirrel silently snuck up a few inches at a time until the giant cookie was in striking distance. In the blink of an eye, the emboldened cookie thief struck, dragging the entire cookie and its wrappings out of reach before Rusty even knew what was happening. The nursing assistant returned to find Rusty cursing, shaking his fist, and carrying on about a wily beast he would only refer to as a tree rat. It was quite an eventful and exhausting day for Rusty, who was returned to his room in a wheelchair and got another giant cookie firmly in his grasp for the Oh, I'm sorry. I lost track of my words here. So Rusty got himself a new cookie, and the squirrel got his cookie, and everyone ended up happy at the end of this silly story. So, sorry I fumbled the end of that, but I will tell you that I just returned from a trip out to Las Vegas, where we spent lots of time out in nature in the Mojave Desert and in wonderful parks out there, canyons and things like that. And out there, the squirrels are very different than they are in the East. They're very small. They look more like what we would think of as a chipmunk in the East, and they're called white-tailed antelope ground squirrels. And they're nocturnal, because any of the mammals out there, it's so hot in the daytime that they're nocturnal, because it's only safe for them to come out at night. And they live in burrows that they dig underground underneath all the cactus plants. So, all right. So that was a silly story about a squirrel, and I kind of botched the delivery on it, but you understand. This is a squirrel going about its day's work, gathering goodies for its winter nests. So have you ever noticed how all of the animals, all of the trees, the plants, they just kind of go with the flow of the seasons changes, right? The position of the sun changes, the length of the day changes, the temperature changes, and they just make those adjustments and know what to do without anybody telling them, without having to make a list. They just kind of go with it. And for us humans, with our electricity and our technology, we can be kind of disconnected from that whole process, right? We tend to miss out on those subtle changes because we just turn the lights on and we don't really, kind of go with that flow. And some of us actually this time of year really resist, right? Really complain about the shorter days and things like that. I don't know if anyone here does that, but have you ever heard this phrase, whatever we resist persists? So my first question for you today is, what if instead of resisting the shorter days and the longer nights, what if you lean into that change? So instead of dreading the early sunset, how about when it starts getting dark, try lighting a candle, create some magic, instead of grumbling about it. How about just kind of, create something mystical or magical about it? Again, I've just returned from this trip out west and visited a number of parks where there were all kinds of signs about how the native tribes perceive their relationship with the earth and the seasons and the rhythms of the earth and all of that. So I have all of that fresh in my mind as I come here with you today. So I'm kind of looking in particular at what we can learn by looking at the patterns of nature for our inspiration, and what can we do to gather the good, like squirrels gathering nuts. So I'm going to take a couple of angles on this today, beginning by looking at trees. Now here in the East, we have plenty of what they call deciduous trees, and they put on a fabulous show in the fall, don't they? So and again, this is something that just kind of happens automatically. As the nights start getting longer, the trees automatically kind of back off on their production of chlorophyll, which is what makes all the leaves green. And all the colors that we see in the fall are all there naturally all the time. It's just that it's usually the green part that we see. And as the green backs away, the chlorophyll, the tree kind of dialing back on the chlorophyll, all of a sudden we see all these other wonderful colors, and what a wonderful show it is. And there's all kinds of energy involved with that. There's energy involved with the tree, if you think from the springtime all the way through the fall, from the adding on of leaves and flowering and pollinating, and then this activity in the fall. And then what the trees do is drop the leaves for the winter to just kind of dial back and conserve energy. And so they're just naturally in this flow, and all of it is appreciated and wonderful, and none of it is resented. It's just a natural flow. It's all about pacing and honoring those natural phases. So I invite you to notice the pace of your life. Are you balancing all of your busy phases where you're out doing things, taking care of things, accomplishing things? Are you balancing that with periods of rest? After you complete a phase where you're extending a lot of energy, putting on a show, doing whatever you do, are you also scheduling time to pause and to reflect? So just take a look at the cycles of activity and rest in your life. And I'm inviting you to use these shorter days as a reminder to get quiet, to take a pause. And in that pause, really take time to recognize all the good that is showing up in all the different areas of your life. So just take a breath with that right now. Just breathe into that right here, into that pause, that kind of sacred pause right here, right now. Now we're going to keep working on this angle of looking at nature. Let's return to our friend, the squirrel, and other mammals who work diligently to collect all the goodies that they can find, particularly as the days get shorter and the nights get longer. So we're going to take a few minutes to reflect on different aspects of our lives, kind of one by one, and see what is revealed. All right. So I encourage you as we go through this process to note first the presence of good thoughts and feelings in these different aspects of our lives. And as you go through the weeks ahead, I'm going to encourage you to have this sort of be the beginning of a process that will keep working all the way through the holiday season and into the new year. So you might want to start a list, right? A list of gathering the good. And you might notice as you reflect on different aspects of your life with a focus on gathering the good, that things that want to be released, that need to be released, will show up, will reveal themselves. So you might want to kind of have a separate list for that. But I would encourage you, don't push on the letting go part yet, because we have time for that. Like I said, this for me, this is sort of the beginning of a process that we will work all the way through the holiday season. There'll be plenty of time for you to reflect on things that you want to let go. And we'll be aiming for a ritual where we can do that with our burning bowl ceremony, which will take place on New Year's Eve in person together. So, but right now we're focusing on gathering the good. And as the things show up of things you want to let go, just kind of keep that on a separate list, and gathering the good is our focus for right now. So as we do this, we're going to energize and utilize our divine power of wisdom. So let's review what that is. This is part of the Unity teachings on the 12 powers. And we talk about the 12 powers as divine abilities or capacities that we all have. It's a reflection of our reflection of all that is. So as all that is comprised of divine ideas like wisdom and faith and strength, all of those things are reflected within us as well. So we're focusing on this capacity that we call divine wisdom, which is located within us. It's not a thing outside of us that, we tap into if we're lucky. It is a part of what we are and how we function. And it's a question of how we use it. So our power of wisdom is our capacity to evaluate and discern and make judgments about whether something is good for us right now or not, whether we're feeling something is an important part of our life or we need to let it go. So we're going to be using that as we look at these different aspects of our lives. So as we move into this reflective process here today, I want you to open yourself to your power of wisdom. It's located, I've been putting my hand up here, that's where you can see it, but it's actually located in your belly. That's where your gut instinct is, right? So you might want to put your hand on your belly as we do this process and just listen to your gut instinct. And if you like colors, the color for the power of wisdom is yellow. So you can think of a wonderful golden yellow light. So we're going to focus on gathering the good, like a squirrel sorting out all the nuts and seeds to save for winter. So just breathe into that. And let's reflect right here and right now on your physical health. So again, we're gathering the good. A lot of times when we think about our physical health, we just automatically start making a list of things that aren't working, right? Right now, what I'd like for you to do is acknowledge and recognize all the things that are working well with your body, things that you don't even think about. What's working well? What good comes up for recognition when you think about your physical health? If you want, you can be writing that down. If not, you can do it later. Just kind of reflect on that for a moment. Now let's think about our mental health, our state of mind, your thoughts, your feelings. How are things going? What good do you have present? Do you have a good attitude? What do you have a good attitude about? And are you, what is working for you in your state of mind? What is going well? So just reflect on that. Say a little gratitude prayer. Let's move on to our heart, our emotional health, our state of our heart. How are you feeling with regards to your emotional landscape? What's going well? Again, we are gathering the good here today. We are thinking of recognizing all of the good things, all of those wonderful relationships we have in our lives, whether they are little fleeting relationships like a cashier that you really like at a store that you shop at, or pets, or friends, or loved ones, communities that you're a part of. Just see in your emotional landscape, just take a moment to note what is working well and reflect on that and give thanks. All right, let's look now at our flow of finances. So this is that activity of giving and receiving. And we remember as we think of scripture and guidance from scripture, the format that Jesus always delivers this in is give. The give always comes first. Give and receive. It's not wait and see what you receive and then decide what you're going to give. It's give first. So think about what good is going on. What kind of giving are you doing? And what good is resulting from that? And what kind of receiving is happening? And what good things are coming from that? So take a moment to reflect on that. And now let's just look at take a moment to reflect on our spiritual life, your spiritual practice. What good things do you have going on there? What good level of engagement and learning do you have in your spiritual life? What kind of connections do you have going on? What spiritual practices are working? We're in a practice here of really noticing the good that is present. And so just take a moment to think about that, reflect on that, make a little prayer of gratitude. Yes. So over the weeks to come, I encourage you to continue to reflect on different aspects of your life, gathering the good. So kind of like you might want to make a list of all the good things, because a lot of times we have lots of good things going on that we just don't take a moment to notice. So this is a practice where I'm encouraging you to just take a moment and notice, start a list, things like that. And again, as we talked about before, you might notice that things that want to be released will show up as a part of this process, even though we're focusing on the good. Things that we are finished with, things that no longer serve our highest good will show up. So you might want to keep that on a separate list, because we'll have a ritual to let go of those things at the end of the year. So this recognizing and gathering the good is the first step in a process that will take us all the way through the new year. So let me just walk you through that process so you can have some idea of where we're going to be headed over the next few weeks. So today, we're gathering the good. We're using our inner wisdom to discern those good things. You know, when you think about aspects of different aspects of your life, going, yes, this is a good thing. We want to keep that. And we're using our wisdom to kind of help us navigate what's working, what's not working, and making note of those. So next week, we'll continue to look at nature. The topic for next week is called Feathering Our Nests, or Feather the Nest. So as we really prepare for the darkness that comes in the outer world this time of year, we'll be using our divine power of imagination to take us places as the days get shorter and the nights longer. After that, we'll move into the Advent season, and we'll lean into our power of faith for seeing beyond the outer to the possibilities. And we'll also use our power of strength for holding steady to our inner truth. Then in the Advent process, we will move on to a focus on peace and community, and using our divine power of understanding to come together in compassion and forgiveness. In the middle of December, we'll have a guest speaker who will focus on love in the holiday season, and that will be Reverend Juan Enrique Toro. And following that, it'll be time for Christmas and Kwanzaa, and we will capture the joy of nurturing new beginnings with our powers of enthusiasm and life. And then as the year comes to an end, we will return to this work that we began today of recognizing all the good, and also recognizing all those things that it's time to set free. So we'll be working with our power of release. And then as we step into the new year, we will open our hearts and minds to divine order, revealing the next best steps and creating space to become willing to work with opportunity. So this is the process that we are beginning today. And let me just review what we've talked about today. So I suggest that as the days get shorter, that you see what happens if you just lean into the dark. Learn from the dark. The darkness has a purpose. And so if we resist it, if we grumble about it, we block ourselves from growth and inspiration around it. So my suggestion is that when it's getting dark outside and you're closing the window blinds, instead of, having a boo-hoo about it being dark so early, how about you light a candle and just create a little magical moment for yourself? We talked today about noticing your cycles of activity and rest, and use these shorter days as a reminder to get quiet, take a pause, and reflect. And we started this process of reflection having to do with gathering the good. So keep that up for yourself. Keep going with that. That's kind of your homework going forward, and allow anything that wants to be released to show up without pushing on it. Just make note of these things. And as we, of course, notice all the good that is already present, we move into that wonderful energy of gratitude for Thanksgiving. So right now we're going to take all this into a time of meditation. So let's begin with a couple of deep breaths. Just quieting the mind, open the heart space, open all of your human senses to the world around you and to the divine nature within, and the energy of all that is, or that which we call God, resonating through every aspect of your life, and recognize the vibrational energy of good present. Good that you may not have been actively recognizing, affirming the good work of the body that happens all the time without even trying. Gather this energy of the good into your consciousness and recognize it. Tucking away these little recognitions like nuts being tucked away by a busy little squirrel. Gather the energy of love and connection and community and hold it in your heart. Take all of that energy of good and bring it in. Just gather it around you so that you're just bathing in this energy of goodness. And from here, we're going to move into some time in the stillness, in the silence together, where we can just feel the energy of all this goodness, feel the texture, see the color of it, hear the wonderful sound of it in the stillness, right here, right now. And as we begin to come back to the current moment, just feel the gentle pressure of your feet on the floor. Recognize the goodness in the groundedness of the earth, and that energy, that grounding energy of the earth moving up through your feet, through the legs, through your seat and your core. And as you feel that energy moving up, it rises up to the tippy top of your head and the tips of your fingers. It matches the energy in the atmosphere around us, coming together. Where the earth and the sky meet, here is where we dwell in gratitude. And let's close out our time of meditation with an affirmation. Our affirmation today is: goodness is present in every aspect of my life, and I am grateful. Say it with me now, if you would. Goodness is present in every aspect of my life, and I am grateful. Let's say it one more time. Goodness is present in every aspect of my life, and I am grateful. So it is. Thanks so much for being here, friends, and I'm going to hand it off to my friend Linda, who is our service leader today.
There we go. Well, thank you, Reverend Cheryl. That was very good. Needed to hear those words today. Okay, thanks for watching the weekly broadcast from Unity of Fredericksburg. Visit our website, uofva.org, to learn more about our mission of spiritual awakening and transformation, and support our ministry with your financial donation.